Now first one, write down your new chapter, which is your connection chapter, bolted, welded and bracket connection. So in this chapter we will discuss the rivet part, rivet connection within 15 to 20 minutes this portion. Then we will discuss your bolted connection, After, in these bolted connections, there is a lot of subparts. There is a small subtopics under the bolted connection topic. So first one, sir, first one is nothing but type of bolts. Then we will discuss drawing methodology, or you can also say drawing terminology. After this, we will start what are the type of bolts. Then we will discuss type of type of bolted joint. Then we will discuss type of bolted joint failures. First one, your type of bolts, drawing methodology, type of bolted joint, type of bolted joint failures. After that, we will discuss design strength of bolt. So design strength of bolt, and after this we will discuss again strength or design strength of connection. Then we will discuss efficiency of connection. After that, we will start efficiency of the connection. We will discuss your concept of bracket plate, Then we will consider, so after bracket plate, we will discuss the interaction relation between shear and tension. Interaction relation between shear force and tensile force. And then we will discuss your one part in bolted connection, prying force. So these are the topics and subtopics under bolted connection and bracket connection subpart. Because in this chapter, bracket connection, it has two types. One is your bolted bracket connection, one is your welded bracket connection. As we are discussing the bolted connections, we will discuss bracket plate also within the bolted connections. When we will discuss welded connections, again we will discuss bracket plate part. Now, if I see first part, rivet portion. So first part, write down rivet joint. So in this portion, for rivets, for riveted connections, which is actually not using or not performing in steel structural part nowadays. This rivet connections actually was used earlier times in 1960s, 70s, like that. Up to 2006-7 or 2010 also you can find out some riveted structures have been made. Now sir, why in 2010-2012 riveted structures are made? Because the design have been done in 2005 or 2006 based on working stress method, and the design implementation in the construction is done 5 years later. So though 2007 IS 800 new code is released, still we can find out that few constructions or few bridges are made of rivets, because design have been done 5 years earlier, construction is finished 5 years later. So that's why we need to know the basics of the riveted connections. Now before starting the riveted connections, there are mainly three types of connections. Everybody knows: rivet connection, bolted connection, and last one is your welded connection. If there is three types of connection, among these three connections, rivet connection and welded connection is known as permanent connection. I repeat, permanent connection. Why? Because if you made the riveted connection or welded connections, you cannot remove, you cannot replace them totally. You can remove them, you can actually erase them, and you can actually remove and replace, but you cannot do it totally. But if I talk about a bolted connections, this is actually a temporary connection. Why? Because if there is any fault in the bolt part, particular one bolt, we can remove the bolt easily. So that's why temporary connections is actually your bolted connections, and it has lot of positive sides in connection, industrial connection portion. Now first one, rivets. Write down. For rivets, let us draw the diagram first quickly. Now if you see, I think most of the students have seen the rivets in real life. So you can see in the rivet, this entire portion is actually a round part and it is actually a straight portions. But if I talk about a thread, or if I talk about a bolt, you can find out this portion, and up to some certain distance it is a straight portion, and after that there is some cross marks in the bolted part. So what is the basic difference, sir? You can find out that there is some marks in the bolt, it is not there in the rivet, and this portion is known as nothing but shrank, and this portion is known as head. Now if it is given that diameter of the rivet is given, suppose in a question it is given that diameter of rivet, what is the meaning of diameter of rivet? Equal to nothing but nominal diameter of rivet of shrank. We are not taking the diameter of the head, we are taking the diameter of the shrank. Now if I say this is the nominal diameter of the rivet, then whole diameter equal to d plus, d is nothing but nominal diameter, d. So d plus 1.5 mm or d plus 2.0 mm or 2 mm. Sir, what should I use here? Which one? This one or this one? It is depending on the d value. It is depending on the nominal diameter of shrank value. If d up to 25 mm, if diameter is up to 25 mm, we should go with this one. If d greater than 25 mm, we should go for this one. Very, very important for MCQ. Whole diameter d plus 1.5 mm up to 25 mm. If it is more than 25, it is nothing but d plus 2 mm. Important for MCQ for 1 mark. Next, quickly, type of rivets. So write down type of rivets. So here, depending on the shape or depending on the shape and size, there are different type of different name of the rivets are given. Like sir, mushroom head, pan head, counter shrank head. So like, if I talk about a rivet like this way, this is your nothing but mushroom head. If I talk about like this way of a rivet. This is known as pan head. If I talk about the rivet like this, so this is nothing but counter shank head, etc. So it is actually a variable diagram, it can be given, which is actually no required for our portion. The important part which is required to remember for type of rivets is actually number 1, hot driven rivet, and number 2, cold driven rivet. Hot driven rivet is also known as power driven rivet. Hot driven rivet is also known as power driven rivet. This is the important part what I have to know for type of rivets. This one. Now, what is the meaning hot driven rivet and what is the meaning of cold driven rivet? Now see, suppose I want to connect two flat plates. I want to connect two flat plates, this one and this one. Both are subjected to some tensile force, this side as well as this side, here, and I want to connect a tie plate with a gusset plate. Like this, and you are providing some connections here, you are providing some rivets here. Now how can I connect the rivets with the plate? What is the standard procedure in construction? What is the standard procedure? Now see here, what do we do? First we make or we do the design. Suppose we do the design. In the design, assume that the D value is coming 20 mm. Suppose in the design, your D value is coming 20 mm. You have done the designing, a designer has done the design, and I have to provide 20 mm diameter rivet. So if I provide 20 mm diameter rivet, what diameter hole I have to choose? I have to choose 21.5 mm, right? 20 plus 1.5, 21.5 mm diameter hole I have to cut. So what I will do, I will cut here the hole first. So I will make a hole of 21.5 mm. Fine. Now what I can do? Sir, 1.5 mm, just think logically. This is a circle portion, and in this circle portion, this hole, this is your plate hole, or this is the hole I have made in the plate, and I want to put a diameter of 20 mm here. So it means 1.5 mm is only extra, which is very less, right? Because I have to put the rivet here, so it means 1.5 mm is actually there extra. In diameter wise, 1.5 mm is extra there. So which is a very less amount of diameter. So what I can do to connect the rivet to the hole, I can make directly hammering. So I take the rivet and I have done the hammering here directly. So directly taking rivet and doing the hammering is nothing but cold riveting. It means I am doing it in standard temperature. I repeat, directly taking the rivet and doing the hammering and making the riveted connection, which is nothing but cold driven rivet. Fine. Also what I can do, sir, I have cut the hole, alright. After that I will take the rivet, fine, I will make it hot. It means with a increased temperature, with some chulli, we will make a huge amount of temperature, and I will put this rivet here now. Now what will happen in this case? So when the riveting is done with the increased temperature of the rivet, it means the diameter of the rivet is increased. So initially it was 20 mm diameter rivet, but now it is increased some more. So what happens? It will be a tight one, right? So in that conditions, if we do the riveting, it is known as hot driven rivet or power driven rivet. The word, that's why it is important, power driven rivet. Why? Because if you have done the hot temperature condition of the rivet, it means the diameter is actually increased. If the diameter is increased, it will directly not fit in the hole, right? So it means I have to put more amount of hammering, more amount of power in the hammering. So that's why it is also known as power driven rivet. Is it clear, everyone? Hot riveting and cold riveting. Okay, good. Now tell me one simple question or one simple answer, and think here. Which riveting has high strength? Which type of riveting, cold riveting or hot riveting, has high strength? This one or this one? And if you find your answer, why? Why this riveting has more strength? Okay, so think logically, think practically, and then I will discuss it. So I am getting couple of answers, hot and cold, and somebody is telling, Rituraj is telling, is it necessary to make the diameter of hole more in case of cold driven rivet? Of course, always in riveted connections, if I choose the diameter of the rivet, I have to make the hole with increased diameter. Always. This is actually a codal provisions. We cannot deny it. Codal provisions, we cannot deny it. No, it will not lose. Why? Because after making the connections, we make some amount of gluing, right? Suppose you can see the bolts or the rivets are made of some stainless steel, right? So if it is made of stainless steel, but you cannot find out in open eye that it is made of stainless steel, because some type of painting is done there. If painting is done, just imagine, if painting is done or gluing is done, it means it is taking some amount of diameter increment, right? And this 1.5 mm is very, very less. Just think logically. You can also assume that 1.5, it is very, very less. Believe me. 20 mm means 2 centimeter. In your scale, you can also see it. 1.5 is very, very less. So it will not affect that much. Please think that what type of rivet has more strength, hot riveting or cold riveting, and I will discuss it. Now tell me somebody, in the type of rivets we have discussed regarding hot driven rivet and cold driven rivet. Which one has more strength, hot riveting or cold riveting? Which has more strength? Tell me. And why? Okay. Now see, first of all, hot riveting has less strength compared to hot riveting. I mean, correction please, cold riveting has more strength compared to hot riveting. I repeat, cold riveting has more strength than hot riveting. Now why? The question is, sir, just imagine when you have done the hot riveting. When you have done the hot riveting, what will happen? In hot riveting, the diameter of the rivet, the diameter of the rivet shank will increase, right? But when hot riveting is done, after hot riveting at a certain time, the normal temperature, the rivet connections comes to normal temperature. So if it comes to normal temperature, again the diameter of the rivet decreases. Now what we have done in hot riveting? We have done the riveting process. It means we have done the hammering process in the increased temperature. So when it is cooled down or after the normal temperature, the diameter of the rivet or the nominal diameter of the rivet has decreased. So it means the connection will become loose. So that's why hot riveting has lesser strength, but in cold riveting it is done in normal temperature, so there is no connection issue. I hope it is clear. So please write down. Few lines. The strength of cold riveting has higher value than the strength of hot riveting. So you can also write down strength of cold rivet greater than strength of hot rivet, or power driven rivet. Fine. Next sentence. Because hot riveting is done in increasing temperature. Full stop. So when the rivet comes back to standard temperature, then there will be some gap between plate and the rivet, because same line, I repeat, same line, because in standard temperature shank diameter decreases. Full stop. So that's why your cold riveting has higher strength. Important question, because this question also came for some examinations also in GATE this question came. You can check your GATE questions, previous year's GATE questions. Which riveting has higher strength, hot driven rivet or power driven rivet, cold driven rivet, both has same strength or cannot be determined. Like this type of question was there in 1 year GATE examination. You can go through that. Apart from GATE, this concept came in numerous examinations. So please go through only this part: type of riveting, hot riveting and cold riveting has higher strength. Why? Because after cooling down, hot riveting, there is a loosen up in the there is a gap in the hole and the plate. Now, sir, I know hot riveting has less strength. I know this thing. Now question comes in my mind, then why hot riveting is done in practice? Then the question comes in our mind, why hot riveting is done in practice? In civil engineering, why hot riveting is done? Why hot riveting is done? If it is has giving you less strength, why it is required? Okay, Rituraj has asked, can't we maintain Schrank diameter so that it takes the diameter of the hole after cooling? How is it possible? How is it possible? It means you are telling that after riveting has done, you want to bend the Schrank in sideways direction. Is it? You want to bend the Schrank, remaining part of the Schrank in other direction, is it? Now, this hot riveting part is done for temporary structures. Hot riveting is done for temporary steel structures. Sir, what is the example of temporary steel structures? Temporary steel structures are like, if I say, sir, I want to make a huge amount of bridge, pre-stressed bridge I want to make. So what I have to make here? I have to make a huge amount of long pre-stressed bridge. So see what happens. I will first make a temporary steel column. After that, I will provide the concrete column. We are not discussing about the railway bridge. We are discussing about a highway bridge. What I will do? I want to make a column, or I want to make a pier part or abutment at the support portions. So if I want to make a pier portion here, what will happen? To make the pier, I have to make a support, a temporary support, which I can further remove after when pier is completed. Then again I can provide a temporary support here. So it means to make a bridge, sometimes we provide a temporary structures. If you have seen these things in some mega structures, there is one channel in one documentary in some Discovery Channel or some Nat Geography channels, you can find out that in mega structure constructions, the temporary steel structure is provided. So that is nothing but your hot riveting concept. So after this portion, write down design strength of rivets. Design strength of rivets. So write down. So design strength of rivets will be minimum between shearing strength of rivet and bearing strength of the rivet. So design strength of rivet, it is also termed as, or it is also known as rivet value. This is also known as rivet value. So rivet strength or rivet value equal to minimum between shear strength of rivet and bearing strength of rivet. Fine. Now, sir, what is the meaning of shearing strength and bearing strength? So if I talk about the shearing strength of rivet, shearing strength of rivet. Now what is the meaning of this portion? So for this understanding the concept of shearing strength of rivet, I have to know, or I have to go through the diagram properly. What is the diagram? So let us draw one plate. One flat plate is connected to another flat plate like this. One flat plate, another flat plate, one flat plate, this one and this one. So it is connected by some number of rivets like this. Now if it is connected by some number of rivets, if you see the side view, what I can find out? You can find out that this was one rivet zone, this is also one rivet zone, and what I have done here, I have provided the tensile force both the direction, right? Now when you see this portion, you are applying this portion is actually your tensile force. Now if I apply the tensile force here, this line or this zone will be your resistance line, it means normal stress will acting like this way. I mean normal stress is resisting like this way. If normal stress is resisting this way, so perpendicular to this will be your shear stress, right? So this is your normal stress zone line and shear stress is perpendicular line, this one. Now if it is shear stress line and this is your nothing but shear plane, this will be your one shear plane for one rivet. 1, 2, 3 rivets in a single line, so there will be 3 shear planes in 3 different rivets. So this is nothing but shear plane. So what I will do here, shear strength of the rivet is nothing but shear stress. Sir, shear stress of what? You have written here shear stress. Shear stress of what? Shear stress of rivet. Right? Shear stress of rivet multiplied your shear plane area. Shear plane area. It is very simple concept. We know that force or shear force equal to what? Shear force equal to shear stress multiplied area. Same thing I have applied here. Shear stress of rivet multiplied your shear plane area. Now, what is the value of shear stress in working stress method? Remember, value of shear stress in working stress method, because rivet is actually coming from working stress method concept. Somebody, what is the shear stress value? If yield stress is Fy, correct, 0.4 into Fy or 0.45 into Fy. So I am not writing the value here, I am only writing in terms of shear stress value tau, right, multiplied shear plane area. Now we are discussing about rivet, so let us discuss about only one rivet. Let us discuss about only one rivet. So if I take only one rivet, I can find out only one shear plane, right? Two plates, it is connected with a rivet here like this, and only one shear plane is present. So it means shear plane will be only one. So 1 n is nothing but number of shear plane multiplied by what is this area? This is your nothing but your portion of hole diameter, shrank portion hole diameter. So n multiplied your pi by 4 into dh. Please remember, very very important, this is the only critical part. This is the only critical part. It is not d, it is dh, hole diameter. And what is the n meaning? N is nothing but number of shear planes. Don't remember, just try to think how it is coming. It is shear stress multiply your shear plane area. Shear plane area means, sir, I have taken the shear plane in the shrank portion. Shrank portion means I will take the hole diameter. Now, I have done with the shear strength part. Next is your bearing strength. So let us come back to the bearing strength. So bearing strength is actually also same for one rivet, which is equal to bearing stress, I repeat, bearing stress multiplied your contact area, right, bearing stress multiplied your contact area. Right, now see here, if I talk about the bearing stress, again we know the value of bearing stress, but in this case, in this problem, we will not consider that value. We will only assuming the FBR value. We are not writing 0.75 because we do not know the value of yield stress, and sometimes the bearing stress value is directly given. So that's why I am only writing F bearing. This multiplied contact area. Contact area is nothing but dh multiplied your T. So what is the minimum? What is the meaning of T? T is nothing but minimum value between this is your plate T1 and this is your another plate T2. So it will be minimum of T1 comma T2. So that is the concept for bearing strength of rivet, and this is the concept of shearing strength of rivet. How to find out the value of N? N means number of shear planes. Just looking at the diagram, for one rivet, you can see there is only one shear plane. It means I have to consider the free body diagram. Here I have to consider the free body diagram. So what is the concept? So free body diagram means, see what I have done here. Look at the figure. You are applying the tensile force T here. So I can say there is a opposite direction force will be there. Right or wrong? There is opposite direction force will be there, like this way. So if I say this portion properly, this is one part here, this is another part here. Now see, if we apply some pull this side, opposite direction reaction force, so this should be T also, right? Now it should be, line of action will be actually here only. Similarly, line of action will be here only, correct? So it means at these portions there is a same amount of force will occur in the opposite direction. At this portion, at this junction of the shear plane, same amount of force will occur in the opposite direction. For this side opposite, for this side it is opposite, right? So this is only one shear plane. Shear plane means it is nothing but where shear failure may occur. Shear plane is nothing but where shear failure will occur. So write down one example quickly. Two plates, write down example 1. Two plates of 8 mm, two plates of 8 mm and 10 mm, two plates of 8 mm and 10 mm thickness are jointed by 16 mm, are jointed by 16 mm power driven rivet. 16 mm power driven rivet, in bracket diameter equal to 16 mm, in bracket diameter equal to 16 mm, full stop, write down. It is a lap joint, full stop. Next sentence, it is a lap joint, full stop. Find out the rivet value, find out the rivet value in kilonewton, given shear stress. Find out rivet value in kilonewton, and given is shear stress tau equal to 90 megapascal and bearing stress F bearing equal to 270 megapascal. This data you have provided. Please find out the strength of the rivet or rivet value. So you can see that one plate has thickness of 8 mm and another plate has a thickness of 10 mm. It is connected by one rivet. I am assuming it is connected by one rivet because one rivet value is asked only. So this is your 8 mm, this is your 10 mm. So I can say shear strength for one rivet equal to, I can find out for this case your shear stress multiplied number of plane multiplied, you can find out pi by 4 into dh whole square. Fine. So shear stress, it is given data 90, number of plane 1, pi by 4 into dh, 16 mm, d equal to 16 mm. So I can say dh becomes, so if it is 16 mm, only 1.5 will be added, so it will be 17.5 mm, So if it is 17.5 mm, 17.5 mm whole square. So you can find out the shear strength V value. Next one, bearing strength. Bearing strength equal to bearing stress multiplied dH into T. Bearing stress given data 270 megapascal, dH whole diameter which is 17.5 multiplied T. I will take T equal to minimum of these two equal to 8. So please find out the answer, both the cases. Shearing strength and bearing strength quickly. This one and this one in kilonewton, 21.64. This one 21.64 and 37.8. So 21.64 and 37.8 kilonewton. So you can find out rivet value is actually minimum of these two. These two means 21.64 and 37.8. So it is nothing but 21.64 kilonewton. Rivet value is given equal to this one 21.64. Alright, quickly finish it. If it is done, next question write down. GATE 2009. Write down. Next question, GATE 2009. So write down the question quickly. Write down the question quickly. A 12 mm thick plate, a 12 mm thick plate is connected to TO2 is connected to two number of TWO, two number of is connected to two number of TWO, two number of thick plates, either side through a 16 mm diameter, power driven rivet, as shown in the figure. Find out the rivet value. Of the joint. So draw the diagram. It is told that 8 mm, 8 mm and 12 mm. This is 8 mm, 8 mm and 12 mm. Also given data are your permissible shear stress 90 and permissible bearing stress 270. So permissible shear stress tau equal to 90 megapascal and permissible bearing stress equal to 270 megapascal. So find out quickly, find out the answer. 43.3 is the correct answer. Just find out the shear strength and bearing strength quickly, everyone. Shearing strength and bearing strength, everyone, quickly. Shearing strength and bearing strength. Now how to find out the shearing strength? See here, shear strength. So you can find out for shearing strength, shear stress multiplied number of planes multiplied pi by 4 into whole diameter square. Now see here again, if I talk about shear stress given data 90, number of shear planes Now tell me how many number of shear planes are present here by looking at the diagram. Somebody, number of shear planes. See here, if we apply the load here this direction, it means at this junction one will be this side, as well as here, and from here this side. Then you can find out, then only equilibrium condition is achieved. So I can say there is two number of shear planes, one here and one here. So it means there will be two number of shear planes. So I can say 2 multiplied pi by 4 into, what is the diameter? What is the diameter of the rivet? Somebody quickly. I think 16. Yeah, 16 means 17.5 whole square. So which should come? 21 it should come. I think it is 43.29 kilonewton. Next one, bearing strength. Bearing strength, which is equal to bearing, F bearing multiplied dH into T. So here F bearing means what? It will be nothing but 270, given data 270 multiplied dH 17.5 and T. Now see, if I talk about T equal to minimum of what? T equal to minimum of what value? In the last problem we have taken minimum of these two, minimum of two given plates. But see here what is happening, this force and this force is acting one direction, right? P by 2 and P by 2 is acting this direction. So it means this force and this force is giving the same amount or same direction bearing. Just assume there is plate 1, this plate, you are pulling this way, so it means at a certain part, at a certain section, some bearing force is acting here. So it means for this load, one portion is under bearing part, and for this portion, one portion is under bearing part, right? So what I will do, for thickness portion, I will take 12, 8 plus 8. Why sir 8 plus 8? Why sir 8 plus 8? Because here these two loads are acting in the same direction. So that's why equilibrium condition is satisfied, and that's why bearing should occur this plate and this plate together, right? So T will be here 12 mm, not 16, not 8. So it will be 12. You can find out the answer. Somebody, what is the answer? This one, 56.7. 56.7 kilonewton. So I can find out this one and this one. List is this one, shear strength value, and this is your nothing but rivet value. Now next write down. So I will discuss these topics, this shear strength and bearing strength, again in bolted connection. Again in bolted connections I will discuss design strength of bolt. I will discuss again these problems by detail. Here it is not that much of important, but if the question comes regarding rivet, then what will happen? So that's why there is small examples I am giving you for basics. Now next write down your next and last topic of riveted connections, which is your Unwin's formula. Unwin's formula for minimum diameter of rivet and minimum thickness of plate. So write down Unwin's formula. Unwin's formula for minimum diameter of rivet. So this is actually given by Unwin's. D equal to 6.04 multiplied of under root of T. Important formula, but not important for GATE point of view, but important for some PSC examinations, or if you want to prepare for some PSU examinations or JEE examinations, for that purpose. Where T equal to nothing but minimum thickness value. Minimum thickness value of plate. So minimum thickness value of plate means what I have done here, like this question, or like in the previous question, what I have done to calculate the thickness T. If I take about a lap joint, it will be the least of the two. If I take about a butt joint, I can find out the T value equal to like this. So it is in millimeter, it is also in millimeter. Unwin's formula for finding minimum diameter of rivet.